Alright guys, James at Rampant Lion Reviews again for you today. For this one, we are going to do another out and about video for you. So today, I am in Bydgoszcz in Poland, and we're going to have a little look at this place behind me here, Warzelnia Piwa. So we'll do as we always do, we'll go in, we'll have a little look around, we'll try some of the beers, we'll look at the food menu and try some of the food, and we'll just have a good time. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoy this one. Cool to be in another city in Poland. Let's have a wee look at this place. Catch you in a second. Alright guys, so I was just standing here to film the introduction, but here you can see the entrance to this place. We took a little walk, maybe about 1.7, 1.8 k's from the central station. So yeah, as I say, just stopping off to have a wee walk around Bydgoszcz and have some beers and things like that. So yeah, you can see the place out here. We're quite a little bit out of the centre, but yeah, there you can see Warzelnia Piwa, Bydgoszcz, and we'll go inside and have a little look. It seems to be that everything is in the basement, so we'll film the top floor first and then see what downstairs is like. But you can see lovely kind of modern interior when you first come in. Just make sure the door's closed. But yeah, you can see they've got all these barrels and things there. So pizza tradycznie, if I've pronounced that correctly, probably not. Again guys, I apologise for my bad Polish pronunciations. There you can see some old newspaper articles about the brewery and city and stuff. Here's the upstairs bar. A little bit about the prices and things like that for the 1 litre. You've got a 1 litre, a half litre, or you can get the little tasters as well. And yeah, they've obviously got some of their own bottles here too, which are quite nice. A few different kinds, so yeah, some juices and stuff like that. But yeah, the old bottles making up the wall, that is pretty cool. But there you can see a view back outside where we've just been. But yeah, they've got another table up the back here where they've obviously just had some tastings a little while ago, but we will head downstairs and have a wee look. So let's do this. So yeah, come in here. I have to say this does look pretty nice. You've got the brew kettles here. But yeah, let's go and find Mr. Hugh. So yeah guys, just a little quick look at the beer list here. So you've got at the top there, you've got the Złote Pole, which is the wheat beer. You can see there, Przeźniczne. The Piwo, their Pilsner. The Kotslak, which is the dark beer, the kind of Dunkel lager. The one underneath that, the Pasieka, is their kind of honey beer. And then the Słodki Wiewiór, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, that was described to us as the kind of women beer, the sort of very, very sweet one. But yeah, you can see the prices here for a 0.3, that's in the region of like €3.40, something like that. The difference in price between the half litre and the 0.3 is kind of crazy, to be honest with you. You are better going with the half litre, so maybe that's just to encourage you to drink a bit more. But the 1 litre, sorry, for 31 zlotys, so like, you know, between €6 and €7 for 1 litre of beer. That's not bad at all. But yeah, a good little selection here. From what Vladimir told us, the Kotslak is the seasonal one for the moment, and we are visiting here in the middle of February 2023. But yeah, that's a quick look at the beer list for you here. Alright guys, well, time for our first tasting then here at Warzelnia Piwa. So yeah, Vladimir behind the bar, who is from Ukraine, Slava Ukraina, we were recommended by him to have a look at the wheat beer first. So yeah, this should be quite nice. As you can see, they're serving this one in these lovely tall glasses. This is a 0.3 litre incidentally. When the beer poured, lovely finger of a frothy, perfect white head, and you can see this one is a proper hazy Hefeweizen, this one. So looks very nice. In Polish, of course, this is Przeźniczne, but you know, I still can't say this word properly. But lovely looking beer, bright yellow colour, almost looks a little bit like a New England IPA, to be honest with you. The haze in this beer, of course, is down to the presence of the wheat, and the colour is due to the type of malts that you use. But yeah, 1 or 2 big bubbles sticking toward the side of the glass, a few little ones going up toward the top of the bottom of the head there. But it looks nice. Let's have a wee look at the aroma and see what we get. Oh yeah, this is a very, very smooth kind of slightly sweet, and just really quite bready Hefeweizen actually. You can smell some little bit of bread crust, lots and lots of fluffy white bread in there. Yeah, there's a little touch of an almost kind of crackery note to this one. But like I say, this is one of the sweeter and smoother Hefeweizens, wheat beers that I've come across in recent times. It has a little bit of the kind of bubblegummy candy sort of thing, but it's more along the lines of soft and bready. There's a little touch of clovey spice, but not overly much. A little bit of woody character as well, but yeah. It's really quite nice, this one. It's a very straightforward smelling beer on the malty side of things. Like I say, a bit of bread crust, a little bit of cracker, a little touch of wood, lots of fluffy white bread, a wee bit of bubblegum, and a little bit of clovey spice. You do get a little touch of the kind of banana sweetness from the yeast in this one, which is something you expect to the style. But yeah, aroma-wise, this is very, very nice in that sense. Remember, 40% of the malt base roughly is wheat, about 60% of it is barley malt. So yeah. In terms of the hoppy side of things then, for me, the green component of this beer, there's a little bit of smooth earthiness in there, you've got a little bit of herbal character, but mainly this one's got a little bit more kind of floral aromaticity. It's also got a wee touch of... it's also got quite a little bit of grassiness to it, this one. It's quite bright. Maybe German hops in this one, but again, there are many varieties of Polish hops. It wouldn't surprise me if this has got Polish hops in it, this beer. So yeah, the aroma out of this one is really quite nice, I have to say. The green component really leaning towards that grassy side of things. So, on the fruity side of the aroma, like I said, you've got a wee bit of kind of banana from the... you do have a bit of banana from the kind of from the yeasty side of things, but you've also got a nice little bit of kind of apricot and things like that in there. So yeah, it goes together like really quite nice, I have to say. So yeah, a little bit of kind of apricot and things, as we say. A little bit of a little bit of pineapple and things too. Yeah, a wee bit of apricot, a wee bit of pineapple, a little touch of kind of lemony limey character. Yeah, but mainly oily pear, apricot, yeah, and then the banana from the yeast, but a few other wee things in there as well. But like I say, a lovely smelling Hefeweizen in this one. Just a little quick look at the Warzelnia Piwa symbol there, and then Bydgoszcz underneath there. You can see the barley grain there, and also the hop flour. Very nice actually, but let's get stuck into this one. Slanju, skål, cheers, na zdrowie. Ooh, that is nice. It's actually a lot cleaner and wetter than you think it's going to be from the aroma. Very, very smooth beer, this one, but a really nice Hefeweizen. It shows you a lot of the wheaty characteristics the further into the aftertaste you go. So yeah, it's a really smooth beer though. I like this. This is good. So thumbs up to them for this. So middle third of your palate then. Backbone of the beer. Fresh white bread crust. Toward the front of that, little touch of woodiness. Not really much cracker. I was getting quite a bit of cracker out this in the aroma, but not overly much. Above that, lovely big kind of soft, fluffy white bread. That'll be from the barley malt, and then above that you get a layer of like a more dense, thick white bread, and that'll be from the wheat. The wheat is it acts really as a smoothing agent in this beer, which is quite nice. Above that, toward the back of that middle third of your palate, you've got a little touch of the kind of clovey spice out of this one, but not too much. Further forward toward the front of that middle third of your palate, that's when you start to get some of the kind of banana character from the yeast, and in the middle of all of that, that's when you get some of the kind of slightly bubblegummy type sweet characters out of this beer. Perhaps in the dead centre of your palate you've got a little bit of a kind of Werther's Original butter candy, butterscotchy type thing, but yeah, it goes together really nicely from that perspective. Middle third of your palate is really good. Back third of your palate is quite similar. You can feel in the base a little bit of bread crust, a little bit drier of course, bitter and more dry flavours come out further back on the palate. Then you've got the big fluffy white bready character from the barley malt, and you can feel the slightly more dense wheat on top of that. And the wheat gives you a little tiny bit of bitiness on the back third of the palate. Above all of that you've got more of the kind of light, airy, yeasty sort of things. So yeah, goes together really well. And remember, flavour on the back third of the palate is taller. As you come further forward it condenses down a little bit. Hoppy side of things then. Yeah, hoppy side of the beer. You've got a little bit of a kind of sort of earthy type note there. This beer actually does have a wee bit of earthiness into the aftertaste. As you come further forward, it's a little bit herbal and a teeny bit floral, but for me, the mainstay of the green component in this beer is the grassy side of things. Round the front curve of the tongue, it is a lot lighter and more grassy. So yeah, you've got that lovely, slightly zesty character there, but the green component is quite wet for me. Front third of your palate then, fruity side of things. Border region there between front third and middle third of your palate. A little bit of bready build up. As I say, a little touch of banana, but fluffy white bread. Base of the front third of your palate. Bit of bread crust again, the fluffy white bread. Then you've got that nice oily bubble where the fruity esters just roll their way out of the beer. So let's look at that. At the back of this then, you've got a little bit of a kind of, as we say, you've got a little bit of a kind of little bit of sultana underneath. Then as you move further forward, it's got a little bit more of an oily pear, but then lots of apricot, little touch of kind of almost papaya type note out of this one. And as you reach the kind of front tip of the tongue, it's got a little bit of a more, you do get a little touch of that slightly lemon limey character out of this. But a really nicely done Hefeweizen in this, I have to say. Just to round off then with a mouthfeel, this one for me, like I said, it's quite a clean and very smooth Hefeweizen. This one's certainly not the thickest you're going to come across, but really good in the mouthfeel. So yeah, smooth, yeah, kind of mid-bodied for me, very, very smooth as we said, quite clean though. In terms of IBUs, I think this is a standard 15. Remember, this is not the most heavily hopped beer. Malt-based, little touch of dryness, mainly smoothness, a little bit of sweetness in there from the bubblegum and the kind of Werther's Original type flavours. We've mentioned the green component leans toward that more grassy side of things, and then just a little bit of a nice kind of juicy, fruity character. But yeah, lovely Hefeweizen in this one. So this was the, it's called the Złote Pole. This is their Przyjemne wheat beer. So lovely stuff. A very good introduction to Warzelnia Piwa here in Bydgoszcz. Catch you guys in a second with something else. Here we go. So here's our you chilling. But yeah, just a little perspective of where we've been sitting. So we're sitting right next to the bar, and if you look up, you can see the lovely brew kit and things like that, and the stairs where people come down. But I have to say, this is quite a nice little place to sit and just enjoy a few beers. And there's our man Vladimir behind the bar, who's keeping us in the beer, which is great. So yeah, lovely stuff. We're now waiting for our curries to come. You excited?
Oh yes.
Oh yes. So here's he's just had a Pilsner.
Yes.
Interesting?
It was alright. It wasn't for me.
Was it for you? Well,
You've got yours, haven't you?
we're going to review this in just a little second, but I thought we'd have a little look at the menu because we are going to try some food. So one of the interesting things here is that they have European cuisine, and they've also got some Indian cuisine as well. And a big shout out to Vladimir behind the bar, who sorted us out with an English menu, because obviously Hugh's a lot better at Polish than me, but I'm useless at Polish. So, a little bit of a look at the prices here. So remember, it's about 5 zlotys per euro. So in their appetizers, beef tartare, blood sausage, bruschetta, tiger prawns. They've also got a few beer snacks here as well, which are kind of interesting. A cheese platter with pear and cranberry sauce, a meat platter with bread crisps and mustard sauce as well. Both sound kind of interesting. Yeah, a few different soups, some goose broth. That sounded like it might be interesting. If I'm still hungry afterwards, I might try that. But yeah, we got some salads in there, chicken Caesar salad, beetroot salad. Then down here are the other things on the European cuisine. Fried tofu with pak choy cabbage. That sounds a little bit more Thai than anything else, rather than European. Turkey leg and mascarpone sauce. Chicken skewer, burger with slow-cooked pork neck. That sounded pretty good, I have to say. Salmon fillet, roasted tomatoes, barbecue ribs with honey beer, and beef tenderloin steak. So you're talking between about 8 and 10, 8 and 11 euros, I guess, for most of the courses. The steak, of course, is a little bit more expensive. A few desserts as well, a little bit of ice cream and plum crumble. So it seems as well they've got a bit of a collaboration with one of the local Indian restaurants here. So yeah, the Indian cuisine. An Indian snacks platter, which is what Hugh's ordered. So we'll ask him what he thinks of that a little bit later on. Cauliflower pakora, murgi pakora, prawns pakora, samosa, Jerapapad. Some main dishes here, a few different things. Paneer masala, Kerala mango chicken, lamb mango, murgi tikka masala, tandoori salmon, tandoori murgi, chili chicken. I'm going to try the murgi tikka masala, that kind of caught my eye. And of course you can add on garlic naan and all this kind of stuff down here. So yeah, a few desserts. They've got Indian mango ice cream and soan papadi. I'm not sure what papadi is actually. Might need to ask about that. But yeah, you can see for the Indian food, again you're talking in the region of between 8 to 10 euros roughly with these ones. Maybe 8 to 12 euros actually. There's one there for 61. But yeah, some interesting stuff. Actually quite a nice menu, I have to say. Did not expect to get Indian food in here, I have to say. But looking forward to it. Alright guys, well, time for tasting number 2 then here at Warzelnia Piwa in Bydgoszcz. So, the second beer that we're going for, which is again, this is the order that Vladimir recommended us, we're going to have a look at Piwo, which is their Pilsner. So yeah, I have to say, I've never seen a Pilsner that looks quite like this. This looks a little bit like a New England IPA or New England Pale Ale or something like that. So yeah, I've never come across a hazy Pilsner like this before. So yeah, quite interesting actually. But you can see, lovely kind of bright golden kind of colour this one, I would say. Yeah, almost like a kind of mango juice type colour. Really did not expect that. When the beer came, it poured with about a half finger of a frothy sort of cream coloured head. One or two big bubbles sticking toward the side of the glass. A few little ones going up toward the bottom of the head there. But as I said, the haziness of this one is quite interesting. So let's have a wee look at the aroma and see what this one is all about. This might well be quite a quirky beer. Oh yeah. Aroma-wise, this is really quite unusual. To me, this doesn't smell like a Pilsner. Yeah, for me, there's a lot of kind of buttery character to this one, like a lot of diacetyl maybe. So a lot of Werther's Original, a little bit of bread underneath. Yeah, not your classic Pilsner, I have to say. This is really interesting. Yeah, for me with this beer, fresh kind of like bread roll. You've got a little bit of crust in there, but a very sweet kind of like bread and butter type note to this one. There's a little bit of a slightly drier, fluffier, hedgehog type bread to this one as well. But for me, just yeah, very, very bready, sweet like bread and butter type note out of this. I think bread and butter kind of it really describes the malty aroma in this beer quite well. You don't even get a little bit of dryness as you might normally get from Pilsner malt. Yeah, so a little bit of dryness in there, a little bit of, well, just a teeny bit, not really a lot. This beer is more like bread and butter in terms of the malty aroma. So that's really quite quirky and quite unusual, I have to say. On the, other than that, there's maybe just a little bit of biscuit in the aroma, and I don't think we need to say much more about the malty side of things. There's a little touch of a kind of more woody, bready sort of thing in there from the yeast, but other than that, yeah, I think that covers the yeasty, malty side of the beer. On the hoppy side of things then, let's look at green component quickly. Yeah, for me, actually very, very smooth in terms of its green component. Like it's got a little bit of an earthy character to it, a little bit of herbal note. It's a wee touch floral, and then a little bit grassy, but the green component for me overall is very, very smooth. This beer, for a Pilsner, it's really quite unusual in the sense that it doesn't have the crispness and the dryness in the aroma, but we need to see how it tastes actually. But the green component, as I say, it's more of like a wet, grassy sort of thing you get out of this one. On the fruity side of things, again, you've got a little bit of that sort of sultana type note, a little bit of a kind of oily pear. Yeah, it's really quite quirky in that sense as well. A little bit of oily pear, a little bit of kind of sultana, a little bit of gooseberry as well, to be honest with you. Yeah, this is. I can see Hugh was saying that this beer was really quite unusual, and from the aroma for a Pilsner, I have to say that as well. This one is pretty damn unusual. So yeah, let's have a taste of this then and see what we think. The Piwo beer basically, the Pilsner beer. here at the brewery. Let's stuck in. Slanjutsko, cheers, na zdrowie. Yeah. That is really quite unusual, actually. This is, I have to say, this is not like any Pilsner I've ever tasted before. I have to say that straight away. The first impression of this one is that it's really quite grainy and kind of brown bready. Yeah, very, very grainy, kind of brown bready sort of thing dominating this beer. It doesn't have the dryness of a Pilsner. It has maybe a little bit of the bitterness, but certainly this is like no Pilsner I've ever tried before. This is quite unusual, I have to say. Yeah, let's break this down though and describe it as we always do. Middle third of your palate, a little bit of a kind of brown bready, bread crusty type quality there. Above that, a lot of kind of quite dry wholemeal brown bread. A little bit of woodiness toward the front of that middle third of your palate, and just a little bit of a crackery note on top of that. Above that though, you do get a little touch of white bread in there. It's quite a dense layer of white bread, I have to say. And yeah, in the dead centre of your palate, you've got a little bit of a sweeter kind of Werther's Original butter candy note. The way to kind of really summarise the malty side of this beer, the middle third of your palate, it's like a slightly wholemeal bread and like kind of English butter. That's what this beer really tastes like for me. Yeah. This is really unusual, I have to say. I do like how in some ways I do like how this beer is so quirky and it's kind of testing my palate. But yeah, in terms of it being like a classical pils, it's not that. It's something really kind of unusual in that sense. It's almost got some of the graininess that you'd expect of like an English bitter or something like that. But it's got a lot of kind of bread and butter on top of it. Definitely not your kind of typical classic Pilsner. But one of the other things I would say is on the back third of your palate, you've got similar layers. You've got the kind of brown bready bread crust, quite a lot of the wholemeal brown bread, but that layer is taller and more airy. You've got the white bread above that. But one thing I would say is that you get a lot of you do actually get a little bit of the kind of Pilsner malty dryness out of this one. So as I say, for me, this beer is really unusual in that sense. But again, back third of the palate, you can feel the flavour is quite tall. Then as you come further down into the middle third of your palate, it condenses down. On the hoppy side of things, like I say, you do get a wee bit of bitterness out of this beer. And I wonder if this one's maybe Czech hopped. It has got a bit more spiciness to it. Back corners of the palate, it's a little bit more kind of earthy. As you move further forward, it's got a little bit more kind of herbal character to it. Then as you reach the front corners of the palate, there's quite a little bit of floral aromatic spice. Around the front curve of the tongue, a little bit lighter and grassy. And then you have a little bit more of you do get a little bit of bitterness out of this one into the aftertaste. Front third of your palate, border region between front third and middle third of your palate, you've got a little bit of a kind of bready build up in there, kind of brown bready again. Base of the front third of your palate, bread crust brown bread. Then above that you get that nice oily bubble where the juicy fruity esters just roll their way out of the beer. So yeah, that's quite interesting, I have to say, for this one. But on the fruity side of things then, let's round off the tasting with that. So yeah, fruity side of things, again, is quite unusual. There's a little bit of sultana in there. Okay, there's a little bit of an oily pear, but the fruity side of the beer kind of gets pushed out a little bit in favour of that more bready graininess. The fruity side of the beer gets pushed away. Yeah, sultana, pear, and maybe just a little touch of lime behind the very front tip of the tongue where you get the more grassy notes out of it. I think that kind of summarises it quite well, to be honest with you. But yeah, in terms of the mouthfeel, there's a little bit, for me, this is quite an oily beer, so bottom end of mid-bodied, for me mid-bodied, smooth carbonation, quite wet, as I say, a little touch of oiliness. In terms of IBU bitterness, I think this is about 25, maybe 30 IBUs. It has got that wee touch of bitterness to it. The malt was, as we said, like quite grainy, but a little bit dry as well. And yeah, you've just got a little touch of oily fruitiness in this one. But this one, there's a lot of diacetyl in this beer. There's a lot of kind of bread and buttery type quality to this one. So it really isn't a classic Pilsner. In my mind, I'm not sure exactly what this beer is, to be quite honest with you. I really don't know what style this would fit in, but it's not what you would expect when you order a Pilsner beer. I really have to say that on this one. But interesting to try something that tests the palate a little bit, I have to say. So yeah, that was tasting number 2, Piwo, the Pilsner from here at Warzelnia Piwa in Bydgoszcz. So yeah, we're going to do at least one more tasting. We might do a fourth. We'll see how we feel, because we do need to make a move to Torun at some point quite soon. But I'll catch you guys in a second with something else. Alright guys, so our food's just arrived, and our Yu is a very happy boy.
Oh yes.
So he's got some samosa, which are, I have to say, are pretty damn impressive.
They're huge, aren't they?
They're huge. Those look awesome. But then he's also got a mixed starter, was it?
Yes, a mixed starter for 2 people.
Yeah.
But as I told the waiter, I am 2 people.
Yeah. So what is it? It's chicken, beef, cabbage,
Chicken, beef,
bit of poppadom. I don't know.
I think there's cauliflower somewhere. There's everything.
There's everything.
I think there's fish as well somewhere.
Yeah, it's pretty damn impressive anyway. So yeah, our Hugh is a happy boy, and I'm going to tell you about mine. So this one is like a sort of chicken tikka masala. We've got some rice here, and we've also got a garlic naan. So I'm going a little bit more classic than Hugh, but he has very much tempted me with these samosa. So I might have to get some of those for myself as well. We'll need to see. Let's do this. Alright guys, so let's have a little look at this food and see what it's all about. So, first off then, I'm going to taste a little bit of the tikka masala sauce. So there you go, look at that. Lovely stuff. Let's have a wee taste. Oh, that is nice. Really sweet, but still very nice. So we try a little bit of it with our garlic naan. Which, as I say, looks very impressive. I've made an absolute arse of ripping this off, but it is what it is. As long as it tastes good, who cares? So a little bit of the naan bread in there with the garlic. Yeah. Very, very nice. Now I have to say, I don't think Hugh or I expected to have Indian food when we came to Bydgoszcz.
No.
Definitely not. So this was kind of a nice surprise, but yeah. Really nice. The garlic bread, lovely and soft. A little touch of crispiness to it. But yeah, everything on this goes together really well. Let's have a wee look at the meat. We'll check the rice, see how nicely the rice is cooked. Yeah. You know, because of my time in Japan, quite sensitive to how well rice is cooked, I have to say. And that's just got the rice texture. It just kind of melts in your mouth a little bit. So we'll try a little bit of the meat on its own. Yeah. Juicy, kind of tender. You can't ask for much more than that. So, wee bit of sauce on the rice. And yeah. Again, goes together very well. Now, we have this impressive samosa to have a little look at. So I'm just trying to figure out how to do this. Probably need to put it on its side and just take a chunk out of the thing. Probably the best way, eh? So let's have a wee look at this. Oh, it's nice, and it's got, just let you guys see this actually, so it's got peas and chickpeas and all this sort of thing inside it. So that was pretty good. So got a little bit of it here on the spoon, so a wee taste of it raw. Pardon me. I think I breathed in a little bit of pastry dust or something there. But I have to say, that is quite nice. It's got a little bit of saltiness to it, a little bit of spice. It's lovely actually. And the sort of pea and chickpea mixture, again very, very smooth, but you've just got that little bit of dryness and spice to it, which is exactly what you want. So let's dip a little bit of this in the curry sauce and see what it's all about. So there you go. That really is very nice, I have to say. Yeah. Lovely samosa, actually. Hugh was a bit concerned he wasn't going to be able to eat both of these, but I think Hugh's going to Hugh's firing into his starter very, very well, I have to say. But yeah, I have to just compliment the Indian food here. It's one of the things, I mean, in Scotland we are quite spoiled with the quality of Indian food we have, because, you know, obviously we've got quite a few Indian immigrants and they tend to do it really quite well. I'm not a great fan of the Swedish Indian food, I have to say. In America the Indian food wasn't good. In New Zealand it was actually really nice, and in Japan as well it was very good. So for me, countries can either be a hit or a miss when it comes to the quality of their Indian food, but if this is a good example of Polish Indian food, I think it's pretty damn good. So yeah, you have to wonder as well when I think about it. Obviously there are a lot of Polish people working and living in Scotland and the UK these days, so perhaps the love of Indian food in Poland is because of people who have been over there and discovered Indian food. It's an interesting little bit of thought there, I have to say. But yeah, quite impressed with this. So I think we'll leave it at that for our little food review in this video, and I'm going to go away and enjoy the rest of this. We'll come back with another beer video, and I think Hugh's going to join in the next one. We're going to do their dark lager beers, a style that Hugh absolutely loves. So catch you guys in just a second. Alright guys, well it's time for our third and final tasting then here at Warzelnia in Bydgoszcz. So this is one of Hugh's favourite styles. I think it's right that Hugh introduces this one.
Yeah, so this is a brown lager. This is Kujawsko Piwa chimney, so brown beer.
Basically a Dumpo lager or a Czerny type thing.
Yeah, basically, yeah. It's
And,
slightly darker lager.
Yeah, and it means the kozlak is like kozel in Czech, like goat.
Yeah.
So it means like goat. The name of this beer means goat. So yeah, when this one poured, it came out, didn't actually have much head on it, I have to say. It's just got a little bit of a kind of...
A ring of a head.
Yeah, ring of a head, like a sort of slightly creamy ivory kind of colour. A few little wispy bits on the top. But as you can see, this one has got a lovely kind of ebony, chestnutty, mahogany type colour to it, yeah. Not too much in the way of visible carbonation at the bottom, but you can see stuff going up towards the bottom of the head there. Yeah, a little bit of a natural haze to it as well. So yeah, it looks nice, I have to say. Nothing really surprising about the appearance of the beer when you consider the style.
No, it's standard.
It's pretty nice. So yeah, we have to say this one is 6% ABV, so that's a little bit stronger than you would get in Germany or Czech, I think.
Probably, yes.
Yeah, I think that is a little bit. Usually these beers are about 5.5.
They like strong beer in Poland.
That's because they're Polish, and Poland is crazy in the best way. So yeah, there we go. So yeah, no, it's aroma. Oh, that's nice. That is nice.
Really deep.
Yeah, this is kind of interesting. One thing I'm starting to notice about these Polish chimney, you say in Polish? Chimney. These Polish chimney beers, a lot of them are really quite bready and kind of grainy, I think. I mean, the Czech ones, of course, are very kind of yeasty and smooth and bready. The German ones tend to be a little bit lighter and more crisp. So yeah, I'm noticing this one. I mean, what are your first thoughts on the aroma here?
Yeah, you just get this massive waft of bread and touch of caramel maybe.
Oh yeah, I mean, for me there's a lot of like bread crust. This has got rye bread straight away. So you got the bread crust. There's a little bit of woodiness in there for me as well.
Yeah, a bit earthy, a bit woody.
A little bit of woodiness toward the front of the nose. Big bread crust. Quite a bit of rye bread, and the rye bread's it's slightly sweet, but it has got a bit more dryness to it, I think. Yeah. There's a wee touch of wholemeal bread in the top of the nose too, like a kind of regular wholemeal brown bread. So yeah, on the brown sugary side of things, I think for me it's got a little bit of toasty character, but it's also kind of leathery.
Something like a burnt caramel almost.
Yeah, there's a little bit of a toasty caramel, but also a wee bit of a kind of leathery type note to the beer.
That smells really enticing, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's really nice. There is a bit of straight up sweet caramel,
Yeah.
a little bit of leatheriness, a little bit of toastiness, as I say. So yeah, hoppy side of things.
Not massively hop forward, is it?
Yeah, I mean, green component for me is quite typical sort of noble Central European character. It could be, again, it could be Polish hops like the Bielski or something like this, but it's got quite a bit of brightness and smoothness to it. You know, I think the green component is mainly grassy, like a wet grass. There's a wee bit of floral in there, a wee bit of earthiness, and a wee bit of herbal character. Yeah, I think that's the hoppy side. Fruity side of things for me. What do you reckon?
Plum, cherry.
Yeah,
A bit, yeah.
it has got a wee bit of that sharp or plummy cherry sort of thing, definitely.
Like a fresher, like almost like a green plum.
Yeah, I get a wee bit of you do get a little bit of that kind of black curranty note out of it as well. Maybe a little touch of date.
Aye.
Yeah, a little bit of date.
A bit sharp, some sweetness there.
Yeah, for me, like the more you smell this one, it's the more dry fruits that come out of the beer. So, yeah. But it does smell good, I have to say that. Really
Can't
quite
wait,
nice.
yeah.
Again, so I think it's time that we get stuck into this one. Our final tasting then here at Warzelnia Piwa in Bydgoszcz. Slange, skål, cheers, na zdrowie.
Na zdrowie. Budmo. Budmo in Ukraine.
Budmo in Ukrainian, so Budmo to Vladimir.
Wee.
Yeah. Yeah, this one, it's very clean.
Very clean.
But you get more of the kind of thing from the aroma. You get like more of what you expect in the aftertaste. Yeah, yeah.
Very raisiny.
Oh yeah, I mean, for me, you get a lot more fruitiness in the aftertaste. It's quite wet in the beginning, but it really dries up and shows you the bready character as well. But a very nice beer, a very, very nice Dunkel, this one. Say Dunkel, Czerny, Chimne. I need to start using the Polish words in these videos. So yeah, very nice Chimne, I have to say. Malty side of things, what do you get first?
Still that toast, that sort of toasted rye bread.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, for me, like, it's that kind of bread crust, like, not well fired, but still quite like, rye bread crust.
Aye. Touch of spice in there, isn't it?
Yeah.
The rye spice.
Yeah, I mean, for me, middle third of your palate, the bread crust, a little bit of woodiness further forward. The rye bread it's a little bit caramelised almost, like it's got a wee bit of an oily note to it. And then above that, you get like the more fluffy wholemeal bread, I think. There's almost like there's a wee touch of like a nuttiness in there, I think, as well. Like in the aftertaste, you get a little bit of nuttiness, and the woodiness comes through as well. But yeah. What about the brown sugars? What do you think of that?
Yeah, there's definitely some straight up sweetness in that. But it's not too much, it's not cloying.
Yeah.
It definitely gets a lighter brown sugar character to it as well.
Yeah, I mean, for me, this one, the brown sugars, like above the brown bread, you've got this kind of leathery layer, the brown sugars, but kind of like down the middle line of your tongue, it's a little bit more like a kind of oily brown sugar. The interesting thing, I don't get too much toastiness in the brown sugar in this beer, maybe in the aftertaste, but not in the beginning.
When it dries out, yeah.
Yeah, so there's a wee bit of toasty brown sugar in the aftertaste, but dead centre of your palate, straight up sweet caramel, but then yeah, you've got that leathery brown sugar underneath and a bit of toastiness in there. There's maybe a wee touch of biscuit in the middle of the palate too. Yeah, it's nice. Back third of the palate is kind of the same. I mean, you do get a bit more dryness out of the bread crust. You've got the kind of slightly taller, more airy rye layer. The wholemeal brown bread is there as well. Then above that, you get a little bit more of a kind of airy, yeasty sort of bready note out of this one. Maybe a wee bit of honeycomb or something. But yeah, I think definitely, back third of the palate, the flavour is taller. As you come further forward, it condenses down. Yeah, but as I say, really solid. Chimney, Dunkel, Czerny, whatever you want to call it. It's a very, there's a lot of names you can give this kind of beer. What do you think about the green component then?
Get a touch of fruit, don't you? A touch of maybe a tiny touch of floral character, but it's not massively hop aromatic, is it?
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't have like a massive green component to it. But I mean, I still get a little bit of earthiness and a little bit of herbal character.
Yeah.
But it's interesting that you pick out the floral side of things, because for me, on the front corners of the tongue, it has got that brighter floral aromaticity to it, which I think is quite nice. Round the front curve of the palate, a bit of the grassiness has a little bit of zestiness to it, but for me, it's quite a wet grassiness as well. So yeah, the green component is there, But I mean, with a Dunkel, yeah, you do expect a more malt-forward lager beer. So it gives you that. But yeah, I think the floral component is potentially the most prominent.
Yeah, it's quite complex, really. Nicely balanced.
I think the more that you drink of this, the more complex it gets, to be honest with you. Yeah. So, fruity side of things then, front third of the palate, for me, the base of that front third of the palate, a bit of bread crust, smoother rye bread in there, and then you've got the fruits above that nice oily bubble, where the fruity esters roll the way out of the beer. What do you think of the fruity flavour then?
I'd still say plum, cherry.
I do get cherries in this one, yeah.
And raisin in the aftertaste, really.
Oh yeah,
A bit of date.
Yeah, no, I do get a little bit of that kind of more raisiny character out of this one, which is nice, I have to say. So yeah, for me, the kind of cherry and plum at the back, the front third of the palate, there's a little bit of like date and sultana for me.
Yeah.
It gets a bit drier in the aftertaste, I think.
Yeah, when it dries out, it's
yeah, I think it has got that.
That dried fruit character comes forward.
Yeah, definitely. But then, as you reach the middle of the palate, maybe a little touch of fig, like oily fig, black currant, and maybe a little bit of blackberry. But yeah, further into the aftertaste, it's the black currant that kind of lingers for me, and a wee bit of the date. The drier fruits, I think, come out a little bit
Yeah, I'll go with that.
later on as well. But yeah, I think that covers the flavour of this beer. Actually, it's a nice, as I say, it's a nice take on the style, and a wee bit stronger than I'm used to with these beers as well. But
Welcome to Poland.
welcome to Poland, yeah, exactly. Yeah, mouthfeel then. What do you reckon?
Medium to light bodied, I'd say.
Yeah, I was thinking kind of top end of light, bottom end of mid body. It's kind of somewhere in there, isn't it?
It's just enough, isn't it?
Yeah.
For 6% though, the drinkability is massively there.
Oh yeah, definitely. That's fair.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, it's got a little bit of smoothness to it, but a little bit oily and slick, but still quite clean. IBU wise, I think this is probably a standard 20, but there's quite a bit of dryness to this beer as well that you can easily conflate with bitterness. Yeah, so maybe it would feel like it's. I don't think it feels like a 30 IBU beer, maybe 25. No, 20 to 25 IBUs, but like I say, that's combining the dryness and the hoppy side of the beer. The malt base for me, it's got dryness, it's got smoothness, it has got sweetness, it's got a bit of toastiness as well. Gives you everything you'd want again from the style. On the fruity side of the beer, what would you say about the kind of feel of the fruits?
In what regard? The mouthfeel?
Yeah, a bit more dry, a bit more juicy. What do you think?
Yeah. So it's sort of a medium sort of balance between that fresh fruit to start with, and then we said the dried, figgy, sultanery.
Yeah, I think
backbone.
Exactly. I mean, I think it's juicier in the beginning than it dries out.
Definitely juicy in the beginning.
Yeah. This is one of these beers that it is quite wet and quite juicy in the beginning, and then it just sort of mellows out and shows you the drier. Yeah, the drier, more kind of aged side, if you can call it that. It's, as I say, quite interesting. Yeah, I think that's everything we need to say about this one, to be honest with you. So yeah, this was our last beer tasting then here at Warzelnia Piwa, the Kozlak 6% Dunkel Czerny, or in Poland as they call it, a ciemne lager beer. This was nice, very true to the style, very drinkable. Yeah, can't knock this beer at all. Really enjoyed this one. How does it rate on your scale of Dunkel?
On my scale, yeah, it's quality. I mean, I love this type of beer anyway, but no, this is a well brewed example.
Yeah, I mean, I love, I wish these styles were a bit more easy to get. You can get some lovely like Schwarzbier, Tmawi type beers and Dunkel Czerny type things here in Poland, but for me, living in Sweden, not many breweries do these. I think it's a bit of a shame, kind of an underappreciated style for me, for sure.
You definitely get it in quite a few places now in Poland. It's becoming more popular.
Oh, it's good. But I think that's a good place to sign off. Thank you to you for joining me for this tasting. We'll go outside, I'll give you my final thoughts here on our time at Warzelnia Piwa in Bydgoszcz. Catch you in just a second. Alright guys, well that is our time over then here at Warzelnia Piwa in Bydgoszcz. So yeah, we had a really nice night. A big shout out to Vladimir, who was looking after us. We actually thought we were going to stand in front of this thing where it says Warzelnia Piwa, but obviously the light is not on our side at the moment, definitely not. But yeah, I mean, we got to try, I tried 3 different beers. You tried 3 as well, I think? You tried the wheat beer, the pills and the dark beer. I think for both of us, the pick of the bunch was the chimney. The chimney was very nice.
Definitely.
The wheat beer was solid as well.
That lager.
It was the pilsner was a bit odd, I have to say. But yeah, I mean, Vladimir was awesome. We have to say that. Vladimir was great. We love Vladimir and Slava Ukraina.
Slava Ukraina.
Obviously.
Heroim Slava.
Heroim Slava, exactly. But yeah, it was the curry. The food was lovely.
Amazing food.
It was really nice.
Food.
Really surprised to find like Indian food here in Bydgoszcz, I have to say. But it didn't disappoint. It certainly did not disappoint. So for the beers we paid, it was 120 for all the beers that we drank.
112.
112. So that is, that's like 200, about 24 euros maybe. Something like that.
About 22 quid.
24, 25 euros, maybe 22 pounds, something like that. And for the food, it was 150.
So 30 quid.
Yeah, somewhere in the region of like 30 euros, something like that. So yeah, I'm happy enough with that. I think we had a good night here.
It's good value.
It was good. So yeah, can't fault it enough. If you come to Bydgoszcz, I definitely recommend that you check out Warzelnia Piwa. Really good stuff here. And yeah, we're going to go and have a little walk around the old town and then head on to Torun. So you'll see a video very soon from there, I'm sure, because Hugh knows the brew pubs.
Yes, I know Torun very well.
It's very good. So catch you guys in the next one. Thank you for watching. Check out my social media. Check out Warzelnia Piwa's social media. And we'll see you guys very soon. Slange, skål, cheers, nastrovia.
Nastrovia.